and apply some questions with the equation of a circle. This is a 2-day lesson because we add a little bit to the equation of a circle, but we'll start and see how it goes. So first, just starting with the simple definition of what is a circle, and we define a circle as just a set of points that are all equidistant from the center. So you could just think of a circle as having a center, and then all these points that are equidistant from that center, and this does not look like a very good circle. And then we get ourselves a circle. Not great, but best we can do. So the equation of a circle, pretty straightforward. So here it is. Now we use some different variables, h, k, and r, but essentially the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. You might think it looks a little bit like Pythagorean theorem, and actually the equation of a circle is derived from the Pythagorean theorem. So what are we looking for? What can we actually input or take away from this equation of a circle? And there's two things. H and K are the actual coordinates of the center of the circle, and R is the radius of the circle. So basically when you're dealing with the equation of a circle, you look at the values here and here at H and K, and that would give you your center. But notice it's negative H and negative K. So it's actually the opposite signs of what you see it as in the equation. And then over here, it's r squared. So whatever this value is, you take the square root of it to get you the radius. Because r squared, you want to just get r, you have to take the square root. So we're going to, for each of these questions, I'm always going to start with the equation of a circle just for you to get used to it. And then kind of go from there and see what we need or what we can find, so on and so forth. Okay, so first question, here it is. So if the center of a circle is 3, -1, and the radius is 3, what is the equation of the circle? So, I mean, I'm not even going to expose the answer yet, but just look what I did. Here we know this is the equation up here that I already have down. So if the center is 3, -1, that's h and k, and then the radius is 3, so r is 3. So we have h, k, and r. We just substitute in those values. So take a look. So I wrote out my equation. I put in h, I put in k, and I put in r. Now, again, k was a -1, but it's negative k. So it's a -1. So our final answer of the equation of the circle is over here. It's x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 9. Notice, and this is huge, this is a positive 3. It's negative 3 here. This is a -1. It's positive 1 in the equation. So it's really easy to just think of the center as switching the signs, right? The h is in the x spot, so the h value goes with x. The k is in the y spot, so your k value goes with the y. And then the r is just squared. Okay, do some more practice. Okay, so it says the equation of a circle is, and they give your equation, x plus 4 squared plus y squared equals 25. Find the center and the radius. So the first thing that I always like to do is I know that this here represents r squared. So if r squared is 25, if I take the square root of 25, that'll give me my radius. All right, so I'll keep that in the back of my mind. Then also, I know when I'm dealing with the equation of a circle, it's x minus h plus y minus k, where h and k are the centers. So here, this is going to help me find my k value. And now, next to y squared, I don't see anything. So really, y is the same as y plus 0. So there's a 0 there. So do you think you could guess the center based on kind of what we just talked about? And if you got -4, 0 as your center, you are correct. And then the radius isn't 25, it's a square root of 25, which is just 5. Okay. And again, reiterating that my center, I take the opposite sign, and it comes here, so -4. And because there's nothing next to y, it's really y plus 0. So 0 is my k value, or my, essentially the y spot for my center. Okay? All right. We have number 3. Oh, that's next, sorry. So this actually brings us to a good leeway. When you have y plus 0, you could also have x plus 0. And if it's x plus 0 and y plus 0, that's technically then the origin. So we have a very specific equation of a circle when it's centered at the origin, 0, 0. And it's just x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So if you just see x squared in the equation of a circle, that means that the h value is 0. If it's just y squared, then the k value is 0, meaning that it's centered at the origin. Okay, so it's x squared plus y squared. Okay, so it's centered at the origin, and then whatever your r value is here, that would be your radius. All right, so now let's move on to number 3. So 3 says, given the equation of a circle in standard form, and here it is, x squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 36. What are the coordinates of the center? And then what are the coordinates of the radius? So center, it's just x squared, so that should be 0. And then over here, we look to see it's y minus 5, so we take the opposite sign, should be plus 5. So 0, 5, oops, this is annoying, sorry about that, is your center. And the radius, you have to take the square root of 36, because remember, it's really r squared. So if you want r by itself, you take the square root, and that is just then 6. So your radius is 6. Okay. All right, have a couple more questions for practice, and then that's it for the equation of the circle, day 1. All right, so here, write the equation of the circle below. So we always have to start, and 2 things that we need is the center and the radius. So here's your center. The center is 1, 2, 3, 4, comma 1. So 4, 1 is your center. And the radius is 1, 2, 3. So your radius is 3. All right. So up here I have my h minus k, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So maybe pause and see, could you write the equation of a circle given the formula and then the information over here? Here's our center and here's our radius. Okay, so remember, when you rewrite the equation, it's always the opposite sign next to the next to the x and the y. So we have x minus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals the radius squared, which is just 9. 3 squared is 9, and here it is. Okay, so that was number 4. Moving on to number 5, it says, what is the equation of a circle? The center is 4, negative 1, and the radius is the square root of 7. Okay, so same thing. We're going to start with our formula, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Here's your center. And again, I like to just think of it as, I know that it's going to be the opposite sign, opposite sign. So I should have a negative 4 and a positive 1 in my equation. There it is. And then it's the square root of 7 squared. So that means it's really the square root of 7 squared is square root of 7 times the square root of 7, which is the square root of 49. And the square root of 49 is just 7. So here is your final equation. X minus 4 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 7. Okay. Again, this is really just practice, right? You have a formula, you're substituting in information, and you're just practicing from there. Okay, number 6 says we have, write the equation of a circle whose center is negative 4, 8, and passes through the point negative 2, negative 1. So the fact that they're giving you your center means that in my formula, I already know that these two, or this value here, negative 4, 8, is important. Now, it passes through the point negative 2, 1. That means from the center to that point represents the radius. So since it's on a diagonal, remember, we can't count boxes. So what we do is we create that right triangle, right? We count boxes vertical and horizontal, and then we use Pythagorean theorem. And when we do that, we find that it's 2 across and 9 up. So we get 2 squared plus 9 squared equals r squared. So r squared equals 85. That means that the radius is the square root of 85. All right. Then we have everything that we need. We have our center, a radius. When I plug it into my formula, I finally kind of end up with x plus 4 squared plus y minus 8 squared equals 85. Right, again, reiterating, it's negative 4 here, positive 4 here. It's positive 8 here, it's negative 8 here, and I'm squaring my radius to give me 85. And there is your final equation. Okay. All right. And last but not least, number 7. So 7 just wanted you to write the equation of the circle below. So here it is. Two things that you need, center and radius. So our center is negative 2, 1, 2, 3. So center's at negative 2, 3. The radius is 1, 2, 3, 4. So radius is 4. And again, pause and see if you can write that equation yourself. And if you tried, hopefully you have the correct equation. X plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 16. And I took my k value and my h value and my k value, I substituted in, squared my radius, and here it is. Okay. So there is no formal assignment with this since you had your quiz yesterday and Tuesday. But next week you will have some practice questions that go along with this. So you can refer back to this video should you have any questions at that time. If you need any clarification, feel free. Now that we're using Google Classroom, you can private message me and I can help you out with anything that you need. All right, enjoy the rest of your day.